Blade of the Crane. The morning sun hung low, gilding the rice fields in uneasy light. Haruto, wiry and 18, his hands rough as old bark, hefted his wooden bakken with trembling resolve. Each swing cut the humid air, yet his breath hitched as doubts clawed at him. Was this the path to honor, or just another way to earn scorn? Sweat slid down his forehead, dark hair tied in a knot, and he muttered through gritted teeth,
"One day I'll prove I'm more than dirt."
Still, even as the words left his lips, he questioned whether more was worth the price. Hidden in the bamboo grove, Aiko watched him struggle with envy and guilt in equal measure. She'd spent years learning the silent arts, forging herself into a weapon no tradition would bless. At 17, she knew the price of every stolen lesson. Yet here was Haruto, clumsy but fierce, chasing a dream she feared might destroy him. Her sharp green eyes narrowed as he overextended, nearly faltering. Without warning, she dropped a pine cone at his shoulder.
"You're loud enough to wake the dead,"
she teased, but her voice quivered with something like relief and dread. Haruto spun, anger flaring before guilt doused it.
"Aiko, don't sneak up on me."
He forced a grin that felt brittle in his chest. They had grown up together, two misfits bound by loyalty thicker than blood. Yet lately he wondered if loyalty was enough to keep them alive. Aiko's quick laughter echoed in the clearing, but even that lightness trembled on the edge of something darker. Their village in Omi province buzzed with rumors of war. Lord Kimura, minor daimyo under Oda Nobunaga, was gathering spears and swords for a campaign against the Atsai and Asakura clans. Haruto had overheard the samurai debates in the stable, boasts of crushing rebels, shouts for glory. He found himself polishing armor with a trembling hand, stomach churning at the thought of death. Was he forging a path to honor, or merely feeding a slaughter? Aiko carried her own burden. Last night her uncle, an Eiga shinobi, had pressed a coded scroll into her palm. His voice had been so quiet she'd almost missed the stakes. The young Atsai heir, 10-year-old Kenji, hidden in a temple by the Yanagawa River. If Nobunaga triumphed, the boy would die. Aiko's heart thudded with conflicting urges, loyalty to her clan, duty to her lord, and a deeper instinct to save an innocent. The risk felt too large to bear, yet she couldn't turn away. That evening, fireflies drifted among the rice stalks as they met at the village shrine. Blossoms floated on a breeze that smelled of rain and coming bloodshed. Haruto gripped his bakken, voice tight.
"They're calling every able hand. I'm to carry spears for the samurai. My chance to rise."
Pride warred in him against the memory of Aiko's warning, "War's no poem." Aiko's eyes flickered with fear. She dared not speak.
"Fighting isn't a poem, Haruto. You swing that stick like hope, but steel cuts deeper than dreams."
She hesitated, lowering her voice.
"I'm leaving tonight. A mission you can't mention."
He froze, betrayal and concern warring behind his brown eyes.
"What mission? You're not meant for—"
"A shinobi.
She snapped, stepping so close their shadows mingled.
"And I need your help."
In the lamplight, she looked vulnerable and unstoppable all at once. When she revealed Kenji's fate, Haruto's jaw clenched. To aid her was to label himself a traitor to Lord Kimura, and maybe to Nobunaga. Yet abandoning her felt impossible.
"Fine,"
he growled, though his voice shook.
"but if we die, I'm blaming you."
Dawn broke over the Anagawa River on July 30th, 1570. The banks churned to mud by hooves and heavy boots. Haruto stood among Kimura's ashigaru, clutching a bundle of spears while war cries split the air. Every clang of steel and shout of rage made his heart twist with dread. This wasn't the glorious proving ground he'd imagined. It was a massacre waiting to happen, and he'd handed them more weapons. Aiko slipped ahead through the mist, a living shadow. She'd scoped the hillside temple where Kenji trembled. Haruto followed, mind racing. Could he protect the boy? Could he protect her? He forced himself to breathe, to stay close behind her silent form. At the temple's edge, 3 Atsai guards stood watch. Aiko crouched by a stone lantern, voice barely a whisper. "I'll draw them. You grab the boy." Haruto nodded, palms slick. When she cracked a smoke pellet, gray clouds rolled out and the guards coughed, ranks broken just long enough. Aiko darted forward, kunai slicing. Haruto sprinted to the side door, heart hammering so loud he half feared the guards would hear it. Inside, he found Kenji huddled by a threadbare tatami mat, wide-eyed and clutching a wooden flute. Seeing the boy's terror, Haruto's resolve wavered, then hardened.
I'm Haruto,
He said softly.
I'm here to help.
His voice cracked, and Kenji clung tighter. Outside, the battle's roar climbed to a fever pitch. Nobunaga's cavalry thundered like a storm. Arrows sizzled through the air, and the smell of blood turned his stomach. Haruto led Kenji up the temple's back stairs, only to freeze when an Atsai samurai barred their path.
"Traitors!"
The man roared, blade raised. Haruto's bokken felt absurd in his trembling hands. Then Aiko emerged, diving between them with a kunai flash that gutted the samurai's arm. He staggered back, and she ended him with a merciless kick. Haruto didn't pause to think. He scooped Kenji into his arms, and they fled. They plunged into the forest as the river ran red with the clash of clans. Haruto glanced back at the far bank, where Nobunaga stood at the center of a whirlwind of steel and smoke. Power like that awed him, then chilled him with its deadly finality. Some hours later, they crouched in a rocky cave. Kenji trembled against Aiko, her voice gentle as she soothed him. Haruto watched her, pride and fear thundering in his chest. She'd saved them both, but who would save them now? A distant twig snapped. Haruto's hand went to his bokken, Aiko's to her kunai. In the half-light, the forest pressed in like a living thing. They had defied lords and clans, stolen a child from the jaws of war, and now, as the shadows moved, neither knew if they could outrun the vengeance that surely trailed them. Yet in that moment, shoulder to shoulder, they were more than outcasts. They were each other's last stand. Ashigaru, foot soldiers in feudal Japan who were not samurai. The Ashigaru marched behind the samurai, their spears ready for battle. Bokken, a wooden sword used for training in Japanese martial arts. Haruto swung his bokken, practicing moves he hoped would make him a samurai. Daimyo, a powerful feudal lord who ruled a region in Japan. The daimyo ordered his warriors to prepare for the coming war. Kunai, a small sharp tool or weapon used by ninja, often for throwing. Aiko gripped her kunai, ready to strike from the shadows. Resolve, strong determination to achieve a goal. Haruto's resolve to save Kenji grew stronger despite his fear. Shinobi, another name for a ninja, a covert warrior in Japan. Aiko trained as a shinobi, learning to move without a sound. Tatami, straw mats used as flooring in traditional Japanese homes. Kenji sat on the tatami, clutching his flute in the dim temple. Vengeance, the act of seeking revenge or punishment. The samurai swore vengeance against those who betrayed their clan.